What's up, players? Welcome to episode 80 of Ready Press Play, your weekly source for everything that's new and exciting in the world of video games. Every Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific or 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we discuss the top news of the week, notable releases on all platforms, what we're playing, big topics of the industry, and the games we love. If you want to write anything to be read on the show, go to ReadyPlayNetwork.com or hit us up at Ready Press Play on Twitter or TikTok. No matter where you found us, please subscribe to the feed so you can get every new show directly to your device as soon as it posts. And if you like it, please leave us a nice review. This is July 23rd, 2021, and I'm your host, Louis Menchaca, and joining me today is my co-host, Mr. Daniel Lima.
Louis, we're only 20 episodes away from number 100.
I know.
That's kind of a big deal, right? We got to
I
think
can't
for
believe
that
it.
one.
We gotta. It's like the big 100, like the big triple digits and stuff. Like when your podcast is like really a podcast, I think. And
Yeah.
we got to do it real big. You know,
Yeah.
I think I need to fly to you or something like that for episode 100.
You know what? Episode 100, that will be in what? Like it
December?
would be about like 4 or 5 months from now. So we're in July. Yeah, it could end up falling on either like November or December, maybe Thanksgiving week.
I
I don't
doubt it.
know.
I think it's going to be like
Yeah.
mid-December because 52 would be January and then 104 would be January. So probably early December, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, maybe we could. That would be fun if we're able to put together something like that where we actually do it in person. Alternatively, though, if we can't, then we could try doing a guest show where we have like multiple guests coming in. Maybe like all the people that have been in the podcast at some
We can
point.
be like
Like
Fame and Roy Shadow and
yeah,
Leah and
like
get Troy in here and be like just every
yeah,
like the
and
Ready
may,
Press Play family of like guests.
exactly. Maybe we'll even do like a 10-way like podcast on Discord or something, just like the double XP level one gaming podcast where I know that they're not like 10-way, but like, they have way too many people in that podcast. Like there's always so many people in there.
You don't,
um
man, don't tell them, don't say that. We
no
can't
no no
say
I don't
that. Just-
I don't mean offensively. I know I worded it in a weird way, but I just mean it's not usual for you to see that many people in a podcast, so it's always kind of interesting when I see like they're like
yeah,
I
the
don't know,
most,
like their screen cut like 8 ways or
yeah,
whatever.
the most you see on like an IGN or a kind of funny podcast is like a four like quadrant thing or
Yes,
whatever. Yeah.
usually, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, it's we'll figure it out. You know, I'm balling. I can bankroll this. You know, I can fly out. I got vacation time. I'm speaking of vacation. I'm gonna be taking a vacation, but not from Ready Press Play because that hashtag dedication. But quick housekeeping. If you guys want more of Mr. Daniel Lima, he is going to be guest hosting Ready Play Movies next week. So it's going to be his show, not mine. And I will be
Yeah.
listening to my own show as a fan.
It's always interesting when you get to do that because I've done that with Ready Press Play like a few times. And you also did it, I think, like once basically. But yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not 100% sure yet if I have like a plan A and a plan B and a plan C and whatever works out. I'm sure it's gonna be a great show. And I'm excited to do it.
Whatever happens, though, I expect you to do like an impression segment on like your thoughts on Too Hot to Handle Brazil.
100% because Lewis, I am actually watching Too Hot to Handle Brazil. In fact, I watched Too Hot to Handle season 2, which Leah and I went through in like a few days. We actually watched it really quick. And then Too Hot to Handle Brazil came out, and then now we're watching that. But I think we only watched the first episode of that so far. And I'll tell you something, Lewis. That show, the whole premise of the show is that they look for the most, and I'm going to use this word just to be descriptive, but I don't want it to be taken offensively, okay?
Okay.
They look for the most like promiscuous people,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
And they like the most like horny like single people, and they put them and they put them in the situation where they really want to fuck each other, but then they're not allowed to, right?
Thirst
And
traps. Thirst traps everywhere.
exactly, thirst traps, yeah.
Okay.
And and even with that audience in mind, with the regular show, the American show, they take a few episodes to really get things going and get things hot. But on the Brazil show, they were having sex on the first episode.
Of course
Within
they are.
literally within the first 24 hours of meeting each other. In fact, I think there are people that were trying to have sex within like 3 hours of meeting each other. So I just want to throw that out there. And it was so funny watching with Leah and have her be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?"
Of
so
course, of course, it's got to be Brazil, man. Ah, they're setting your people back like a decade or something.
but I'm looking forward to continue to watch it and maybe share impressions on the RPM. But I don't know. It will depend on what kind of show I end up doing. So we'll
Yeah, of
see.
course, of course. All right. Well, another quick round of housekeeping here. Let's go ahead and talk about a quick addendum to what happened last week from last week's show. We talked about the Nintendo Switch OLED, and now there was like a Bloomberg report that we even like hit on. Like we're about the price reports and saying, oh, it's only $10 more to manufacture. And so now Nintendo denies reports that it's making more money on the Switch OLED. So Nintendo has denied that the Switch OLED model will be more profitable than other consoles in the Switch family. It is a fairly uncommon move for the company. Nintendo has responded to a Bloomberg article, though without naming it directly, of course, suggesting that the company will make more money on the OLED Nintendo Switch versus other models. The report published last week said that the Switch OLED was intentionally priced higher in order to give Nintendo a more lucrative profit margin compared to the original Nintendo Switch or the Switch Lite. And Nintendo issued a statement saying a news report on July 15th, 2021 claimed that the profit margin of the Nintendo Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo said in a tweet, to ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to make it clear that the claim is incorrect. Bam! Shots fired. Boo, boo, boo. We also wanted to
Who is
clarify.
speaking the truth here, Lewis?
We,
Is Bloomberg speaking the truth or is Nintendo speaking the truth?
I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. I believe in every conspiracy theory, so I am 100% on board that the Switch only costs $10 more to make than the original model. It's just a
Mhm.
screen, basically. It's like you're not necessarily re-engineering anything. You're using the same chips and stuff like that. Your same processing, the same processors. I mean, what is it like? A new screen, double the memory, and memory's cheap. 64 gigabytes is like the base of an iPhone. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree that it's a situation where Nintendo is just trying to save face.
Hmm.
What do you?
Fair enough.
What
I'm in
about
the
you?
same boat.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat. Don't have a lot else to add. Like, I don't think that report would have come out of nowhere or just made up shit. So, I think that's probably the case. It's hard to believe that that different SKU manufacturer unless maybe it was supposed to only cost maybe the analysis of the parts costing only $10 more is accurate, but maybe they're costing more due to low yield and all the other issues that we're seeing with manufacturing anything during the pandemic. I don't know. So,
Well, that and also like
but
whatever R&D doesn't really get like tabulated in parts or whatever. So depending on how much that
mhm,
costs or whatever, whatever
true.
engineering, all that stuff. But yeah, no, me personally, like I 100% believe in Bloomberg in the sense that they're essentially like the Wall Street Journal, like hybrid of like. Yeah, so essentially they're like a reputable source. They're a publication. They're not going to run a story without having sources. So
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. I believe in Jason Schreier. I don't know. Does he work for Bloomberg? I think he does. Yeah, whatever.
Yes, he's the guy that usually breaks these things for Bloomberg nowadays, so you're correct.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 Let's go ahead, and I'll take over the show with some impressions. So, for impressions, I actually alluded to it last week when I talked about I played a game for once. And so I'm going to tell you this right now. It's not sexy. It's not like this amazing, like, oh my God, like impressions. Yay, Lewis is back and playing games. It's more like What ended up happening was I talked about Smasher Pass, and I said that we ran Smasher Pass, and then right after my stream was over and I click end stream, my friend I invited him. He's like, "Hey, you want to play a game with me?" I'm like, "Sure," and he actually initially invited me to Fortnite, and then after I jumped in the lobby, he was like, "Psych, I actually want to go play another game," so he invited me to a game called what the hell did he call? What the fuck is the game called? Come on, help me out here. Dead by Daylight, that's the one. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
How could I help you out having no idea, no context of this whatsoever?
I was gonna say scary movie and Freddy Krueger and stuff like that. I was about to say that. I was like, okay, all right. So yeah, Dead by Daylight, and then they're doing this season where there's like Resident Evil crossover happening right now. So as soon as I booted up the game, it's like a cinematic trailer, like the cinematic thing that looks like with Claire Redfield and Leon S. Kennedy and all that good jazz and stuff like that. It looked really good. I'm like, damn, it almost looked like the RE engine. But anyways, gameplay wise, yeah, it's basically like a campy '80s horror movie, The Game, where there's a killer. It's like that. It's like that Wii U asymmetric multiplayer thing, uh, but with
Is it
everyone.
what like Friday the 13th
Yeah, Friday the
on the
13th.
PlayStation, or
Yes.
Predator Hunting Grounds, or Evolve, and
Yeah,
all these other
Evolve.
games I
Yeah.
was thinking that. Yeah, yeah.
I was about to say Evolve
Okay.
next, yeah, but yeah, it's basically that. And so like, there's all these archetypes and stuff, and they finally actually got like licensed characters. But at first, like base game, it's like archetypes, like a witch or whatever, or like
Right.
a generic slasher killer guy, like that kind of stuff. And so which with each of these archetypes, they all have special abilities and powers and that gives them like an edge or whatever. And it's up to like the four survivors to like basically work together to make it out alive and like fix the generators that powers the door for the door to open so they can get out and stuff like that. Surprisingly, like the game is very simple and easy to learn, like tutorial wise. It's super straightforward and not a whole lot of convolution. The game is complicated and it's got a lot of systems and mechanics and power ups and upgrades and like a huge upgrade tree. But to start the game for the very first time, it's super straightforward and easy, and they give you just like the very bare minimum that you need to do to get going, and then you figure the rest out along the way. And usually it may be a situation where it's like the community will help you because you're talking to someone or whatever. I ended up
Right.
playing with my friend. We were on Discord voice chat and we were all hanging out, and it felt very cool and very fun. Like I enjoyed it. We actually got a couple of wins in there, and most of the wins were because like the other guy that was playing the killer was sort of incompetent, but there was this one guy that was just like the very last game, I think the last game we played was like the killer was just too. You can tell his guy plays this game a lot, and we just
Mhm.
got like just slapped around like a little bitch in the game. But overall, like it just didn't deter from like the fun factor of it. I think the game is really good, and I can see why the game has its appeal and why it lasted so long because like that game came out a long time ago, and uh,
Yeah.
and it's been I played it on the PS5. I played the PS5 upgraded version, which they gave it to for free. So because I claimed it on PS4 back when it was a PS Plus game, I got the PS5 upgrade for free. It looked dope. It looked like good fidelity and no glitches, and it's very intensive. Like the game has a lot of mechanics where like it'll do like a skill check on you, and it's random, and like those kind of quick time events that are like not like they're not very forgiving. If you can't react or respond, and like you're already in a heightened state of like anxiety, it just sort of like plays with that the horror tropes and stuff like that. It really gets you going and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it.
Is it kind of like the Until Dawn quick time events where they would go like don't move, and then press this button?
No,
Well,
it's just L1. Just press L1, but like it's got like one of
mhm.
that thing where in A Way Out when we were climbing up the shaft of the
Mm,
that thing where it's like that little pendulum swing. And
yes, I know
okay,
exactly what you're
so you got to
referring
press
to.
the button at the right part of the pendulum. So it's like it's got a gray
Yes.
marker with like a little you need to hit the marker. You need to press L1 during this one specific part. And what ends up happening is with A Way Out, you have multiple pendulum swings. You can wait to press L1 at any time you want. But in this game, you have one go at it. So if it swings once and you don't hit it, that's it. Like
Mm.
done. You'll get punished for missing it. Yeah. So
Damn. Well, I've never played that game. I don't think I've ever even seen that game in action. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I know the name. I remember we brought it up in the podcast before. I see the stories every once in a while about like new characters that are being added and the tie-ins and so forth.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I was never. It was never really that on the radar. But it's kind of interesting. Like hearing you talk about it makes me realize that it might be something I enjoy. It might be something that I actually enjoy playing with my friends or something. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I might eventually check it out.
and it's crossplay because my friends were playing on PC and I was playing on PlayStation.
That's
So
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Oh.
So anything you were playing this week?
Not really, man. I'm trying to think, but other than the things that have become regulars in my life now, which is like Fortnite Fridays and you know like chipping into Spiritfarer a little bit a week. Like I played some more Undertale, but like very little, not enough to really um warrant any more commentary on it than what I already had. Um, other than just it's just a very interesting and unique game, but I have and it fucks with you a lot. Like it makes you think it's gonna go a certain direction and then it just does whatever. Like it's hard to like describe Undertale without spoiling anything. Like, but for instance, and you can maybe skip this, but there's a scene where it says like there's like these rocks on the ground, and there's a sign. And if you read the sign, it says like 2/3 of rocks like to be pushed or something along those lines. And then if you go and you try to push the rocks, there's like two rocks that you can push, and then the third rock, when you try to push it, the rock doesn't move and goes like, "Hey, don't push me," or something like that. And, and then you gotta like they're like, "Oh, you gotta ask nicely or whatever," and then you like ask them to move, and then the rock moves to like the wrong place that you have to push it to like solve the puzzle. And it's just like this stupid weird like little RPG just like that just fucks around all the time. Or they'll like they'll hype up a puzzle, and then you get to actually do it, and there's actually no puzzle at all. It's like you just like walk past it or whatever. It's like there's this part where they're like the skeleton like is setting up like a trap for you or whatever, and they give you all these like super complicated instructions. They say like, I'm gonna pull this lever and then you're gonna get a bridge made of tiles of different random colors. You can walk through the blue tiles, but the red tiles will kill you, and the green tiles will do whatever. And if you hit the purple tiles, you go back to the beginning of the level, whatever. And they explain like 10 different colors, and you're like, oh, what the fuck's gonna happen? And then he pulls the lever, and it's just like a blue bridge, and you can just cross. Like, like you don't even have to do anything. So like the game is just fucking around. It's just like a hilarious like fuck around kind of game, just kind of playing with like RPG conventions and what you expect.
Like really like
So
sending those tropes, like like lampooning the tropes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it has a lot of personality. It's interesting. I want to keep playing it. It's a I'm almost playing it in like 20 minutes at a time
Hmm.
increments. So that's why I'm going at it so slowly. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the news. Dan, we have we've been slacking, man. We don't we are professional gamer commentators, and yet we don't do our
Not
jobs.
really. I wouldn't describe us professionals, but let's
Well, we
you know.
pretend. We play pretend. Okay. Well, look
Yes.
at all this. Look. But anyways, so yeah, EA Play happened today, and neither of us
Hmm.
watched it. Now, I have my excuse. Actually, we both have our excuses. Actually, but basically work.
Yeah.
So it's the same excuse, but whatever. We got to make a
Yeah.
buck.
I watched I gotta just do this, especially on this one. But disclaimer, I work for EA, and during my lunch break today, I was able to like watch the beginning of it. Like I think it was like a little bit of the pre-show and then the beginning of it. While I was eating my lunch, but then I had to go back to work, and I was busy today, and I couldn't really take time to watch it, even though I probably will later to catch up on everything. But We got an article here, so we're going to go through the major announcements and see what's going on.
Yeah, so this article comes from Games Radar, and it says EA Play everything announced at this year's showcase. Did you miss EA Play 2021? Or, you know, you need a recap? Fear not, here's everything they have that was announced. So, EA Play 2021 has arrived, delivering a new game announcements over a month after all of the E3 reveals. So let's see here. The headlines are a new grid game called Grid Legends, along with the highly anticipated Dead Space remake. Yeah, Dead Space. Yeah. All right. We got glimpses of existing titles too, such as fresh content coming to Apex Legends and first gameplay footage for Lost in Random. So here we go. Grid Legends. All right, let me just play this trailer and mute this audio. Okay, audio's already mute. So a brand new entry in the Codemasters Classic Racing series from EA Plays Live's first reveal of the event. Grid Legends Racing into View. So is Grid Legends like basically like EA's version of Forza or something? Is what it looks like.
Uh, yeah, it comes across like it's a campaign-based racing game, and Codemasters is the company that specializes in racing games that EA just acquired, and I think this was the first time that they were like showing up with a like had some kind of presence at an EA event, if I'm not mistaken. So we got to see like a little bit of like F1 on the pre-show, and they're also like do the Grid series and a few other racing series, and they got to show this new racing game, which it seems to have a focus um on its like campaign. But I don't really know too much about it, so I can't really speak much else for it. Um, the one thing that I want to highlight, Lewis, is actually the Lost in Random game, which the trailer is after Apex Legends in this article. And Lost in Random is another one of those like EA original titles, kind of like It Takes Two. We actually saw this at some point before. I can't remember right now at which specific event. And this seems to have a lot of personality. It's kind of one of those like fairy tale, like dark fairy tale stories where you get to play as this female character who's looking after her sister who got kidnapped or something. And it seems like the game I didn't make that clear, but it's like a third person like action RPG puzzle, something along those lines. I don't know. I feel like it just seems to have a lot of personality. It looks interesting. I like the theme. Like there's like this theme of like randomness and
And you
card play and stuff like
and a
that.
dice is literally your like your what do you call it? Like your co-character camp. What do you call him?
Your
A
companion,
companion character. Yeah.
yes. So this was one of those things that they showed where I was like, I actually want to check that out. I actually want to see what's up with that and play it. So, and I believe this got a release date too. It's coming out on PC and consoles, including the Switch, on September 10th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something about the title "Lost in Random" reminds me of something that like that's already out. Like I know there was a game called Lost in Shadow, but I know it has nothing to do with
Mm,
that. But like just the title itself just seems like familiar. There's some familiarity to it, and I don't know why. I guess just a good title is a good title, I guess. But yeah, as far as
hmm
the other announcements that were happening, we saw Apex Legends Emergence Lost trailer. So I guess it's a new story trailer for season 10. So we got essentially like a new character reveal and basically, the standard CGI cinematic stuff. So
Yeah.
um, who the hell like I'm not okay. I know you don't. We can't. We got to dance around like EA and stuff because you're an EA employee. But who the hell cares about the story in Apex Legends? Just throwing that out there.
I guess some people do. I mean, there's like tie-ins to Titanfall and stuff like that. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised. There's always people that care about this stuff. But I will say, like, CGI trailers like this for those types of games, they do nothing for me. I know a lot of people like them. It's just like
yeah,
Overwatch, right? Like
yeah,
there were like people would get really into these like Overwatch CGI trailers for the new characters and stuff. And
yeah,
whenever I play those types of games, I just want to see like how the character plays. Like I want to see the like show me the skills, show me the combat, show me the mechanics, show me the gameplay. I don't want to see like the story of the background of the character. It doesn't really do anything for me.
yeah. Well, shout out to Overwatch for that because I think the thing about Overwatch is like the CGI cutscenes were like a way of like giving you like the story, I guess, or not the story. How about this? Like the personality, the essence of that character. You sort of get to know them, and I feel like with Apex they are trying to do it, but something about it feels like it's like something about it feels like it's like a watered down version of it. It's like when a Hollywood studio executive sees a successful movie and like you're like, Disney is doing a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's make our own cinematic universe. It's very
Right,
like,
right, right, right.
bandwagony. I don't know, but anyways.
I I actually I give credit to League of Legends, by the way, over Overwatch
Oh
even
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
I feel like they were doing it first and they were doing it big, and then I think Overwatch just kind of took a page at their book,
And did
and
it
then
and made it
and
look like they
and
were original.
yeah, yeah, and perhaps made them better,
Yeah.
and then they got famous for it. But I still, in my head, I still think of like the League of Legends cinematic trailers.
Oh yeah, true that. So it says here, EA confirms some new maps are in the works, including and include a reminder that ranked arenas are coming to Emergence when it drops on August 3rd. That's coming pretty soon. All right.
Yep.
Next up, Knockout City Season 2. Really? Like, do we need a Season 2 this quickly? The game just dropped. Like, okay. So on July.
That's like every one of those games nowadays. I feel like they're the season thing. They all want to like get on the season thing because that's what like Fortnite and everybody else is doing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
July 27th already. That's like next week. We're getting a second
Mm-hmm.
season of the EA dodgeball title Knockout City, entitled "Fight at the Movies." Oh, look at that! They got like tuxedos, like Bond, and like kind of like a Bond-esque thing or whatever. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god, they got gliders. It does remind
I
me of
still,
Fortnite.
I still gotta check out this game. I feel like I heard there's a lot of these, I don't want to call them Fortnite clones, but like Fortnite similar games that come out, and I feel like don't really set the world on fire, and people don't really like them as much. But I heard really good things about Knockout City, so I feel like we should give this one a try sometime.
I watched a level one gaming live stream of Dallas
Mhm.
and Baron playing Knockout City, and they got worked. Like they got just demolished, like badly. So I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to. It looks fun. I think they had fun playing the game, but like I would just get like just utterly wrecked and then just not want to play the game. Um, all right, next up is Battlefield Portal, which is the latest mode revealed for Battlefield 2042. From the looks of it, it says known as Battlefield Portal. It's a platform that former Ripple Effect Studios, formerly Dice LA, is building to let players create their own multiplayer modes across classic Battlefield maps. Okay, let's take a look at this trailer here. Let's skip around here. Oh, it's another
So
cinematic. Oh,
So I'm guessing we're looking at some kind of, like Fortnite has this creative mode, right?
yeah.
That people go in and put stuff together, and which, by the way, every once in a while Fortnite adds these quests that involve going into one of like things and then doing something. And I found that more often than not they're kind of garbage. I don't know if you agree with that, but I have yet to play one of those that I really like.
So, like, one of the quests could be like something that wasn't creative that like somebody made and they want to spotlight it.
Yeah.
I've some of them I actually liked. Like, I liked when they spotlighted the Among Us one,
Mm,
but I know you weren't into Fortnite at the time, but
yeah.
some of them are just too competitive and just like they're only about like player skill, and if you're not about that life, then you're just gonna get absolutely wrecked. Like
No, I
there was a challenge I could not physically do because it
mhm.
required me to get headshots on actual skilled players, and I can't do that.
I found that the recent ones have just been like poorly designed actually, because we there was an NBA special one which was pretty weak. Like you just had to throw yourself at hoops and then like you made points that way. It's kind of stupid. And then now there's another one where it's kind of like they throw you in this like free for all map, and then the quest says like you got to build like 5,000 structures or something insane. And I was there just like building, like basically just like spamming
Spamming.
the button, like to build for like 30 minutes and I didn't even get close to like the goal. And I'm like, is that's so cheap. That's such a cheap design for a quest. So
You know what?
stupid.
I'm gonna tell you this right
But
now. Quests have actually gotten worse over time. They used to be actually fairly reasonable to like all skill levels, and now it's getting kind of like it's now it's crossed that like it's jumped the shark now when it comes to like quests. I will say. But
yeah.
anyways, moving on. We got Dead Space remake. So we got an official like 1 minute little teaser trailer, and I gotta say this right now. Look, okay, actually the show ended with our first look at a quote rebuilt Dead Space by EA Motive using the Frostbite engine, featuring the creepiest version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star you'll ever hear, alongside a nod to one of the most famous bits of graffiti from the first game, you know, the one that tells you how to take on the necromorphs. This short tease got us ready for when the sci-fi horror classic lands on PS5 and Xbox Series and stuff, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm very happy for that, and also. EA Motive, what's that studio? Because I feel like I've heard that before. Because I know the original Dead Space studio got closed and shuttered. I know that.
I'm gonna pull up data so that I don't risk saying anything incorrectly. Um, but let me pull it up here. I'm pretty sure they were working in one of those Star Wars games
That makes
that
sense.
didn't come out.
Yeah,
Um,
I vaguely remember that.
let's see. So, they are the developers of Star Wars Squadrons and Star Wars Battlefront 2. So they're actually they are not. Motive Studios is a Canadian video game developer and studio based in Montreal. So I actually don't. Maybe they're not the ones then that. There are way too many EA studios. It's hard to keep track.
It
It's
seems
hard to
like
keep track.
the original developers of the Dead Space trilogy was Visceral Games. What I did from a quick Google search. But yeah,
There's my confusion. Visceral Games are the ones that were working on a Star Wars game that got canceled. But EA Motive is now making the new Dead Space game. I think that sounds about right. Um, all right, yeah, I think it's pretty cool to end with an announcement of a Dead Space remake. I don't really know if this was ever rumored or not, but as somebody who actually never played the original Dead Space, as I assume it's probably the case with you as well, Lewis, it's always cool to have an opportunity to go back to a classic like that and being able to play it in its best possible form, and not really have to go and experience it with old graphics and old like sometimes outdated controls and mechanics and etc. So
and long load
um, I,
times and everything. Yeah.
exactly. So I hope they. I trust that they'll do a good job with this and that it will be pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty tight, short EA play. They're kind of like they're kind of spreading things out a little bit more. So there was actually, I don't think we covered it in the show at all, but there was actually another thing that they did, I think, a few weeks ago that was more focused on like the smaller, like some of the smaller games that as well. And so it. I don't know. I feel like there's some cool stuff in there. I feel like the Dead Space is a pretty big story that will percolate the industry and games media for a little bit. Um, and yeah.
Okay. Cool. I know Dan can't answer my questions, so I won't bother asking him. So I'll just go ahead and give my thoughts. And I just want to say that these announcements they seem very like it seems kind of very small, like a small list of announcements. When I think of like an EA play, and I'm thinking like essentially like an E3 presentation, and I'm thinking like a little bit of a longer list. I'm thinking like more hype and stuff. I can if this is what they had to come with, and I can sort of understand why that they wouldn't present at E3 and just kind of like give it a month out. Um, so not I'm not exactly hyped or excited by any of these things. I'm intrigued by some of it, so I'm intrigued by Lost and Random, and I am intrigued by the Dead Space remake. So everything else is kind of meh to me, which is not very what do you call it? It's not that bad, is what I was gonna say. But yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up actually is that a lot of times EA does these press conferences and then they'll have like they'll have all their sports stuff in it, which is a big pillar of EA stuff.
Yeah,
And then a lot of people complain like, I don't care about that. Like, get it over with. Like, get it out of my face. So it seems like they actually separated this year because there were like 1 or 2 weeks ago, they also like they just kind of put out all the sports related trailers and announcements, and they showed like FIFA 22 and all the other stuff. I think maybe Madden as well, and
so that
so
explains why it wasn't padded.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like typically instead of saying like I don't know like 6 things on this list, you would have seen 12, but it would be like all the sports things in between as well. So
fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some Ubisoft news, and there was a lot of it, so much so that it's got more than one headline. We'll get into that momentarily, but first, let's go over the first article. This comes from GameSpot. It says Ubisoft touches on Assassin's Creed Infinity, Beyond Good and Evil 2, the Steam Deck, Netflix getting into gaming, and more. And also Ubisoft drops a year over drops sales that's year over year, so that's no bueno. Um, let's see here. All right, French publisher Ubisoft reported earnings for its fiscal first quarter of 2021 2022 year ending June 30th, giving us a look at how the company is performing financially. The company also gave an update on some of its upcoming games, revealed a new mobile title is coming, and more. Management also discussed its plans for Assassin's Creed Infinity at a high level, saying it will stay true to the DNA of the brand with high quality narrative experiences. Management also reacted to the Steam Deck and Netflix's apparent push into the world of video games. While the company also briefly discussed Beyond Good and Evil 2, here's a rundown of all the key details from Ubisoft's latest earnings report. By the way, I also brought up Beyond Good and Evil 2 last week on the topic of the show, so yay
that
me.
was that was the main reason why I threw this into doc. I just wanted to throw you a bone, Lewis. You mentioned it, and I was kind of like yeah, that's true. I didn't even remember that game. I feel like it's not really getting talked about as much anymore. But here it is. There's a headline with it right after that.
All right, so let's see here. Starting with the revenue, Ubisoft made 326 million euros over during the 3 month period, which is down 20% from how much money the company made during the same period last year. Digital revenue and revenue from player recurring investments, i.e., microtransactions, and excuse me while I spit, were also down by double digits. Yay! Fuck yeah!
Ex- Excuse me while I spit, while with the other hand he's adding $100 to Fortnite to spend on microtransactions.
You know what?
Keep going.
You know what? We don't need to get into that. Okay.
Okay.
Revenue back catalog titles sales also slid year over year, dropping by more than 20% to compared to the same quarter last year. It looks like Rainbow Six Siege isn't as popular as it used to be. From what I'm
Mhm.
reading on that, Ubisoft management did not provide any explanation regarding the across the board downturn in revenue. It's probably because you're not releasing shit, but whatever. Regarding upcoming games, the Ubisoft report mentions a revival of Beyond Good and Evil 2, though no release date was announced for the title. That's oh god,
I
what the
I
hell?
want to point the fact that they cited it, the fact that they had the name in there somewhere means that they're at least still working on the game. That it's not, that
It's not
it feels
canceled.
like vaporware, but it's not really vaporware yet. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not canceled. It's not. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. On a call, management said it was too early to share anything more specific about the long in development game. The report also confirms that a new mobile game will be announced later and is scheduled for release in Q4 this year. So, the publisher also mentioned that the Division 2, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and Rabbids Party were all approved for release in China. Yay! So I guess that's all I needed to read from this report. Is there anything else that I needed to? Oh wait, actually, you know what? Let me just skip right to this part. Also during the call, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot briefly discuss Valve's Steam Deck. He said he's happy to see Valve bring new hardware to market. Ubisoft will keep an eye on how it progresses, and this will determine how much investment Ubisoft puts into it. First off, does Ubisoft need to put investment into it if they're already making their games and putting them out on Steam? Wouldn't they just be compatible? Or are their games all exclusive to UPlay?
You know what's interesting?
Well,
Like,
actually, no, I take that back. UPlay can be installed, so never mind.
do you remember that? I think it was like an NVIDIA device that at first you could like run any game on it from any PC game on it, and then slowly we started reading all these stories in the podcast where it was like, oh, they're removing this publisher is removing their games from the GeForce like
GeForce
NVIDIA
Now,
Shield,
yeah,
yeah, or whatever it was like
yeah.
thing, and then that just kept happening because I think publishers were just kind of seeing that people were taking advantage of that, and we're basically like, we don't want to participate, we want to do our own thing, or we don't, we didn't agree to this or whatever it was. So
Yeah.
I feel like we could see a similar situation with Steam Deck actually, where it's like, well, this is just a portable computer, you can run any PC game, but maybe then other publishers would say like, no, we actually don't want to be there because whatever reason, right? So we could see what happens there.
Oh, that would be that would be some shitty things, and I would totally call every company out that does that stuff. That's so anti-consumer. But yeah, also Guimont also touched on Netflix's apparent push into the world of gaming. He said this is very good for the games industry overall. He said Netflix is a very dynamic company, and he expects them to have a good success. Guimont said content is most important thing in gaming and entertainment, and Netflix is well stocked when it comes to popular franchises. Aw, that feels like I feel like when you're reading something like that, it just kind of seems like a CEO is like just sort of like paying his respects and that's about it. It's a little
Mhm.
I don't know. It almost feels like a little like sort of looking for like just light. I guess I can't think of the
Mhm.
word, but yeah.
It's interesting because Ubisoft has had some forays into, and they're one of the publishers that is getting the most involved with like other medias, right? So like they're doing shows and movies, and there was like the Assassin's Creed movie, and now they're working on I think there's like a Splinter Cell show and other stuff, and they're also the ones that co-produced the Mythic Quest show that I like, and other stuff. So it almost kind of makes sense for them to potentially align themselves with Netflix for some of the stuff. Um, and also Ubisoft, they tend to be, from a developer perspective, an early adopter of new tech. Like Ubisoft was there day one for the Wii U, and Ubisoft was there day one for Stadia and stuff like that. So I could see Ubisoft being a company that does end up getting involved, even though right now they're not announcing anything. Um, Now, Lewis, I got a little addendum to add to the story. I'm not sure you know this, but in order to add Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, in order to release that on China, they had to change whenever Mario says, "It's me, Mario." Instead of saying that, he now says, "Fuck Hong Kong."
No, he does not. I'm pretty
Yes,
sure
he
he
does not.
says. I'm pretty sure he says, "Yay, Hong Kong" or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Did I get the joke wrong? I'm not good with politics. I'm sorry.
Um,
Or like geopolitics or whatever.
No,
Um,
I'm sure you got it right. I was just taking everything you said at
yes.
face value up until the final part, and
Yes.
I'm like, wait, no, there's no
Yeah,
way.
I caught you off guard there.
Yeah,
But yeah, we keep seeing those stories about the China stuff. It's pretty crazy. Pretty
yeah.
crazy
What
what's
was it?
going on. Yeah.
There was like a developer that's getting bought out by Tencent already, or something like that. I forgot. Was it already on the dock that we're gonna
Yeah.
cover later, or is it?
News. Yes, I think
Hmm.
that's extra news.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, man. Just you know, China, man. They're just everywhere, man. They just sort of. It's like the new Cold War. It's like instead of like you
Hmm.
know politics, it's more like socioeconomic strangleholds. That's how we do it. But
Hmm.
anyways, um, there are other Ubisoft news articles that we're going to cover, and I'm just going to simply read you guys the headlines. And Dan, I'm assuming that you know more than me, or if you want to react to it. But a little extra news within the top news is number one. Ubisoft's Skull and Bones is now in alpha, but the road to get there has reportedly been anything but easy. Number two, Ubisoft's new Ubisoft first-person shooter X Defiant combines Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, The Division, and more. And number three, Ubisoft delays Riders Republic to October 21 and Rainbow Six Extraction to January 2022. I am not surprised by that delay. Ubisoft plays fast and loose when it comes to their release dates, and they're not above releasing games in January. So Yeah.
Um, I did want to bring up so the Skull and Bone stuff. We were talking about this as well on our release date special. It actually kind of has a window now. It has a release window targeting a time between April 1st, 2022 and March 31st, 2023. So it's basically given a full fiscal year from April 22 to March 2023. And I wonder,
Wasn't that
I kind of want
wasn't that already the that fiscal year? Wasn't that already what we were working with prior? That's not new information. Or at least I don't feel like it is.
um I thought this game had no release date at all. Like nothing, not even a year. Like I didn't I had no information about this game. I had as much information about this game as far as release goes than I do about Beyond Good and Evil. So maybe it was and I just didn't know,
I could have
but I
sworn it
was
was
just
fiscal year by next fiscal year, and that's what I was working with. And I vaguely remember that our predictions were as such as well. So I think both of
yeah.
our predictions from last week's episode are still valid within that specific time window, that 1 year window.
I'm pulling it up right now because I want to see Skull and Bones. So I predicted September 2022
Hmm.
and you predicted March 2023. So
We're
we are
both
within that window.
we're both
Yeah.
in that fiscal year. Oh
Yeah.
yes, but once
So
yeah, but we only get credit by calendar year. So if it's either
yeah.
2022 or 2023, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you this right now. I have the upper hand because Ubisoft can come out and announce a release date of September 2022, but then they're gonna miss the release date.
And for all we know, they could also delay this game all the way to 24. We haven't we don't know what's going on with it. So, and there's more details about the development and stuff. I had a Game Informer article in there, but it looks like the original source was actually from Kotaku, so you probably want to go look at that instead.
Well,
And then I think
if it's an alpha, though, as just a separate side note, it's an alpha. It's probably you're probably more in line, though. I would say just possibly. But
we'll
anyways,
see. We'll see. And I do think you should pull up the trailer for this X Defiant game. I have actually not seen it yet, so I'm gonna see it right now with you and with the audience. But I know that there was some level of excitement for this online. Um, so it's a new original, Ubisoft game. Um, and let's look at it.
okay, I have the audio muted, of course, but yeah, it definitely looks like the Division and Rainbow Six Siege, and it looks like a little bit of a like a melding of art styles. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
it it straight up melds the classes from the different games as well. This is a straight up uh, like an Avengers of the Tom Clancy series. Uh, Billed as a high octane shooter combining realistic gunplay with personalized classes, X Defiant is a multiplayer game combining elements of the Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, and Division games with other properties to follow, blending 6v6 arena combat with faction based abilities. It's fast paced firefights meets punk rock mosh pit, Ubisoft said
Oh
in
my
a
god.
review video on Monday. The game features four playable factions: Splinter Cell's Echelon. I'm gonna butcher all these names.
Echelon,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
guessing.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the support, Ghost Recon Breakpoints, Wolves, which is the tank, and the Division's Cleaners, which is the assault, pass chart healers. So yeah, kind of an interesting idea to create like a tactical first-person shooter that just kind of brings all the franchises together.
It's
I
like
wonder
Smash
if
Broing.
this basically means,
It's
Lewis, that we
Smash
will not
Broing the
see.
Ubisoft games or the Tom Clancy games. Sorry.
Yeah. I wonder if this means though that we will not see a new entry in those franchises for a while.
Huh.
Cuz what yeah. Cuz we have what is it like Rainbow Six Extraction, right? That got delayed.
Yeah.
So this does not feature Rainbow Six, but it is Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, and The Division. And
Right.
all three of those games are games that, Splinter Cell especially, people have been waiting for a new Splinter Cell forever. So I wonder if this is kind of like to remember how Ubisoft has been talking about how they're kind of like changing their strategy and rather than releasing a bunch of games, they want to have more live service games that are of a high, Calibur and stuff like that. Maybe what this means is for a while now, at least, we will not see a new Splinter Cell, we will not see a new Ghost Recon, we will not see a new The Division, but they're converging all those franchises together and hoping they can unite all the player bases on this game that is supposed to live more as a live service.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That's too clever, especially if like you're sort of throwing everyone a bone, and also you're making all the money because everyone's
Hmm.
all under one banner.
Yeah.
So yeah, that damn, that's evil, and I like it. But yeah, no, I have to kind of agree with you on that one. And also, by the way, I, I just want to throw this out there. Like for some odd reason, I didn't I don't feel like I'm not like I'm now realizing it to be true, but in my head I don't feel like Splinter Cell is a Tom Clancy franchise, but it is. It's Tom Clancy Splinter Cell, right?
Mm.
Because like when I think of Splinter Cell, I think of Sam Fisher, right? Or
Right.
am I getting okay, that's Sam Fisher,
Well,
right?
Sam Fisher. Okay, Sam Fisher is the character's name. Tom Clancy is the writer.
Right.
Who wrote the books that the games are based on? Who, by the way, already died a
Yeah.
while ago,
Yeah.
and it's kind of interesting that like there's this whole. I wonder. I wonder what Tom Clancy even thought of these games. I wonder what kind of involvement he had because I have no idea.
But yeah, no. So it's just kind of interesting. Like when I think of like a Splinter Cell, I think of Sam Fisher, and everyone wants Sam Fisher to come back and all that stuff. And it just
Mhm.
seems like it would be it almost kind of feels like Sam Fisher is like a Ubisoft IP. That's a
Mhm.
side that's completely separate from Tom Clancy. But whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I understand what you mean. And I will say this, Splinter Cell fans have not been happy with Ubisoft's treatment of Sam Fisher because they're basically like pimping him out to
Yeah.
all these other like mobile games and crossovers and all this crap. And they've been waiting for a Splinter Cell game for many years now.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Next up is some Nintendo news. So we'll go ahead and kick it off here with what is this? My Nintendo News. It says here
Mhm.
that the Nintendo has announced that the 3DS and Wii U eShops will no longer accept direct payments with credit and debit cards on January 18th. So that's no bueno. That's not a good look.
It effectively means the end of the eShop, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the end of the Wii U and 3DS eShops. I think isn't this okay? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it's Japan only. I think, but over the past few years, Nintendo has gradually dropping support for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, and they will focus all their work and resources on the Nintendo Switch. The process has been slow, but Nintendo has decided that the time has come to end support for yet another thing on the 3DS and on the 3DS and the Wii U. Nintendo has announced earlier tonight that the handling of credit cards and transportation e-money in the Nintendo eShop on the Nintendo 3DS series and the Wii U will be terminated at 9 a.m. on January 18th, 2022, which is a Tuesday. After the termination, you will no longer be able to add balances using credit cards and transportation e-money from the Nintendo 3DS series and Wii U. The good news is that the change is mainly for direct payments. You can use indirect methods such as the Nintendo Switch to be able to add funds to the 3DS and the Wii U eShops. But it is yet another sign that the Nintendo has unfortunately, yet unsurprisingly, decided to move on from the 3DS and the Wii U. So wait a minute, this is not just Japan only. This is everywhere. Frick! Like what the? Oh my god! They usually do this thing where that's like Japan first, and then the North America gets it later.
yeah, I don't know. We might want to look into the source and that is linked at the bottom to see if there's maybe more specificity on where they got the story from.
Oh,
But I do want to say that
it's the source is Nintendo's Japanese Twitter. Yeah.
okay, so on one side, you know, we criticized Sony a lot for their plan to close the PlayStation Vita and PS3 shops earlier this year, which they ended up walking away from and not really doing. And now Nintendo is not fully closing them, but they are announcing that you know the 3DS and the Wii U shops, and the Wii U being a whole generation after the PS3, the 3DS having coming out like just a year before the Vita, I think. So it would be unfair of me to not give him the same like treatment in a sense of being like pissed off about it, right? At the same time, though, I do want to give credit to Nintendo for at least giving us enough time, like, and telling that this is going to happen in January of next year, which basically gives us 6 months to go in and figure out which games we want and what we want to buy. And I'm pretty sure that Sony gave us a lot less time, and then it ultimately ended up pulling out. And the fact that this is also not a full closure, like the article states, we can still add funds through indirect methods. I'm guessing that means maybe like if you have like eShop cards and stuff like that, you could still add that, and you can use the Switch or maybe like your computer to go and add funds that way. But I still like I kind of have it in the back of my head that there might be issues with that those external processes, and that it's probably a matter of time. Like from that point, from January, it's probably a matter of time until it's officially like all done. So I am going to go and do what I did with the PS Vita and stuff earlier this year. That I ended up not finishing the job there because of Sony pulling. I will definitely do it between now and January with the 3DS and the Wii U. I'll figure out which are the games, especially the digital only games that are stranded on those consoles that I want to own. I'm gonna organize myself. I'm going to go and buy them over the next few months.
Yeah, I
I'm not sure there's a lot of that, but I will do it.
I need to buy Earthbound Beginnings, which is like the Earthbound game
Mm-hmm.
before Earthbound. Like it was Nintendo, not NES, but they look alike. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, the it's really interesting. Like it's always January because like the Nintendo Wii eShop closed in January as well, and they gave us like 2 years notice. By the way, on the for the Wii, or at
Mm-hmm.
least I think it was definitely over a year's notice. Like they were gonna be like, oh, it's gonna close on this day, and then there it is. So yeah, I guess I'm not surprised that the day is coming. Like it just kind of seems very
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Like I don't know. I know it's a legacy. I know they're legacy hardware technically, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just kind of want to know what the ins and outs, like how much maintenance, how much server cost does it cost to run these things, and like, are you pulling any money? Is it? I don't know. I just I'm kind of from like that video game preservationist side of me, kind of like rolls over in my grave, that kind of thing when I hear these kinds of things. So I'm not very happy with it either. I'm just accepting of it. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do the thing where I'm gonna look at the games that are on the eShops for these consoles and make sure that I circle back and make sure that I'm gonna speak now and forever hold my peace when it comes to what games I have. And a separate side note that the Wii U eShop has already been losing games as the Switch comes out because they've been pulling games like Donkey Kong Country and Pikmin 3 out of the eShop anyways because of the Switch releases. So, yeah, just throwing that out there.
I just want to point out a few quick things for people that are into collecting games and stuff. It's a good opportunity to look at games that have gone significantly up in price recently for these platforms and potentially get them digitally, so that you don't have to spend that much money to get them physically. If you just want to own the game, you don't necessarily want to own them physically. There's not a lot of that on the Wii U. There is quite a bit on the 3DS. There are some 3DS games that are getting kind of rare and expensive, so you might want to get them digitally if you care to play them. On the Wii U, I think the only example I know of a game that got actually really expensive is Devil's Third, which is insanely expensive now. And it's apparently like a trash
Yeah, I know. I
game.
was about to say the game sucks.
Um, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, you want to own Devil's Third, you want to check out Devil's Third, then you probably want to go look and see if you can buy it digitally.
Yeah, all the good games on the Wii on the 3U got ported to the 3DS. So,
Yep.
really,
Or the Switch.
I mean, sorry. Damn it. I meant the Switch is what I meant. But yeah, it did get ported to
Hmm.
the 3DS. A lot of them did get ported to the 3DS.
Yep.
But yeah, yeah. So as far as that goes, maybe we'll like do a topic of the show on, what to buy before it closes or something, or
Hmm.
what we bought or something like that. All right. Next up, and the final big top news of the week here is a new PS5 model is lighter than the launch console. The official product manual shows. So it's a revised digital edition of hardware. So yeah, it's got a new like SKU number. I think it was like okay. So yeah, it says right here that Original one, the original launch version, it was CFI 1000B, and now the new model is CFI 1100B, and it weighs 300 grams less. That's seemingly that's it. And we got an official like process, or sorry, an official, I guess, description and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't see anything that's remotely, interesting other than it's like a quiet revision. It looks exactly the same on the outside, but it's just a little lighter. And whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost extra newsworthy. But is there
Yeah, no,
anything that you wanna hit on?
no, that's actually totally a no story. I saw the headline and I threw it in there thinking it was going to be something bigger, but now that I'm thinking about it, this is totally extra newsworthy, so we can move on. I don't care.
Oh my god, I wonder what they did to make it lose that weight. You know what I mean? Like it just. I wonder what kind of engineering marvels or what kind of components they needed to remove. Oh, also by the way, separate side note: the screw for the base stand is different. It's a different like
Interesting.
what do you call it? It's like a different like type of screw, so it's not the same. So yeah, all right, that's basically how you tell them apart. Is just look at the model number. So yeah. All right. So speaking of extra newsworthy, let's actually get onto extra news. All right. So let me pull this up and all right. Extra news. We got 10 items on the list. Number 1, Game Developers Conference GDC organizer Informa Tech kicked off its all digital 2021 show on Monday and confirmed plans to return to an in person event next year. So I'm guessing there's a GDC, a digital event happening right now, and
Yep.
now there's like it's going off, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do real GDC in March.
Hmm.
Number 2, Bandai Namco has announced that the servers for the fighting game One Punch Man: A Hero Nobody Knows will shut down on February 28th, 2022. You know what? I got to tell you this right now. At the beginning of our podcast life, we were in the single digits of our podcast run, like episode 5 or something like that. We read the blurb on new releases for One Punch Man, and I was talking about like the mechanics of the game and stuff like that. So I just want to say, like, damn, that's how long
Yep.
our podcast is officially old when a server
Yep.
shuts down on a game that we talk about on new releases. Number 3, Sumo Digital, the studio behind games like Sackboy: A Big Adventure and Crackdown 3, is set to be purchased by the Chinese company Tencent for $1.27 billion. And excuse me while I spit. Number
Is that?
4,
Can you remind me how much like Bethesda cost Microsoft? Was it 7?
11 billion, wasn't it?
I think it was 7 billion, but somewhere around there. But then Insomniac was bought by PlayStation for like $200 million or something. So it's kind of
Yes.
interesting to think. I almost kind of want to look at all these like studio purchases and like put them in a graph to see the comparison of the prices because so Bethesda is worth
7.5 billion.
yeah, is okay. So Bethesda is worth 7 times what Sumo Digital is worth, and Sumo Digital, whose biggest games are Sackboy and Crackdown 3, is worth like 5 times what Insomniac is worth. Just throwing that out there. These prices are very weird. That's my whole point. The prices that these companies sell for is very weird,
It's like
in my
some monkey arithmetic or something
opinion.
like that. I don't know. Number
Mm.
4, Apex Legends has a new season on the way, and that means a new legend too. The latest of Apex always excellent stories from the Outland cinematics tells the tale of Seer, a child with cursed glowing eyes, and the next legend to join the Apex games. All right, that headline was very self-serving. I guess that was EA's publicist writing that one. Number 5, Tom Clancy's Elite Squad will shut down a year after launch. Ubisoft announced. Aw. Number 6, Detroit Become Human sells 6 million copies and becomes Quantic Dream's best-selling game. Not surprised. Number 7, Horizon Forbidden West's Aloy joins Genshin Impact for a limited time only. I am speechless, and how dare they? Number 8, on Wednesday, a California state agency filed a lawsuit against the game publisher Activision Blizzard over allegations of rampant sexual discrimination and sexual harassment. Okay, I have been vaguely hearing about this on my feeds. It sounds like the headline, and the headline that I saw was Activision Blizzard canceled, and I didn't get any context, and now I know. Number 9, an animated movie was announced for Gods Among Us. Injustice Gods Among Us, produced by Warner Brothers Animation in DC. That is old news because that has been a long ago announced, and I'm pretty sure I covered it on Ready Play Movies, but whatever. Number 10, The Last of Us HBO TV show cast Anna Torv as Tess and Jeffrey Pierce as Tommy. And I gave my commentary as I was going along, Dan, so I'm going to let you talk.
Okay, so the Injustice story, this was posted on Game Informer just like yesterday. And if you pull up the source from the Hollywood Reporter, it was also posted yesterday. So I don't know how old this can be. Maybe it is like a few days or a week old or something like that. But I'll be surprised if it's more than that. Shout out to Jeffrey Pierce. He's actually the voice actor of Tommy in the games, and I think he actually is one of the. I think Tommy is like a very well played character in the games that does not get enough credit. So I think it's cool to see that he's gonna reprise his role in the Last of Us show. Although, wait, no, something's up. It
So,
doesn't sound right.
just throwing this out there, I have a YouTube video from 2 months ago that says animated Injustice Gods Among Us movie is coming, and it was John Campea as a movie commentator that has his sources. So I
Could
think
be
I
that it was like a rumor
maybe,
or like a
but
leak.
I think I reported on it on Ready Play Movies. So yeah.
Okay. I just realized something. I gotta pull up this Jeffrey Pierce story because I'm pretty sure like they had already casted somebody else as Domi. As I was saying it out loud, I was like, wait, this doesn't sound right. Because I
Tommy was already cast,
remember,
wasn't it, or no?
yeah,
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 actually, no, wait,
exactly.
yeah, because they were like, oh, they look like brothers or something like that, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, yes, 100%. I don't remember the guy's name, but
Holy shit.
uh, let me pull up the article here from Deadline. Jeffrey Pierce, the voice of Tommy in the Last of Us video game series, is set to recur as a different character.
Oh,
Interesting.
nice.
So
It's
he's gonna come in and play somebody else.
okay.
Um,
That makes sense.
yeah, because Gabriel Luna is the character that's playing Tommy. Okay, so sorry for my mistake there. But
Wording.
cool.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I'm glad to continue to see, casting for that show. I'm very excited for it. I think they just started filming it or they're about to start filming it. I think we'll probably see that show maybe like late next year, hopefully, or around that time. And I'm excited. That being said, it's always sad whenever games like shut down their servers so close to when they come out. But those stories are becoming more and more common. We got two of them this week, so sorry to the players off Elite Squad and the One
One
Punch
Punch.
Man game.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody actually played One Punch Man. Come on. I'm
I
gonna I'm gonna
I
talk. I'm gonna throw shade at them.
okay. Why do you think not like people were not playing it?
The game reviewed very poorly. And, the game's
Mm.
mechanics weren't very well received, so I think the game kind of sort of flopped from the beginning. And yeah, the fact that the servers are even still up is more of a surprise to me.
Because One Punch Man at this point, it's a huge IP.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
know
would have
that.
thought that the IP alone would carry the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty
You
sure it
know.
did. I'm pretty sure it did, but
Mhm.
I was interested in the game, and I'm glad I didn't buy it because like I watched reviews on it, and they picked it apart. So yeah.
Mhm. All right.
All right. I guess with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and move on to check this out.
Check this out.
All right. So for check this out, we'll go ahead and let's see. Let's do. You want to do all of them or just three of them?
You pick
All right, let's go with it.
whatever tickles your fancy.
All right, the Nintendo Switch gets a train controller in Japan. So, what the hell? Holy
So
shit.
this one is pretty old, actually. I threw this in the dock like a month ago, but I just kept like pushing it, like we didn't have time to do it or whatever. But it's just a silly thing. Like you can get this like crazy train controller for the Nintendo Switch,
And it's got all the
and I
buttons, the
think
home button, there's the capture button, the D-pad. Oh my god, it has ZL and ZR. Like, it has
yeah,
everything. Oh, cool.
and it ties into. Oh my God, Lewis! I totally forgot about a game that I played this week that I should have absolutely talked about on the impressions, but it's too late now, so I'm going to talk about it next week.
Okay. All
But
right.
I got a game. I There is a old game that I am playing again right now that I want to talk about. So we'll talk about next week. But
Okay.
sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
All right. Well, so yeah, this looks interesting. It looks cool. So I'm sure that there's like I'm guessing there's a train simulator game that's probably Japanese exclusive. It's I guess Densha to
Yep.
go. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. All right. Cool. 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 All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's see. This one is a YouTube video. All right. Let's see here. So it's a quality of life
Yes.
trailer for Skyward Sword HD.
So once again, also getting a little old. The game already came out, but I wanted to point out that when we first saw this game, when we first saw this remaster, right? It seemed like they were just kind of upgrading the graphics, tightening up the graphics, and that was it. But they're actually significantly improving on the game. There's all these like they're like tiny changes, but there's like all these tiny changes that they've made to the game that just improve the quality of life, just are supposed to make the experience better. And when I saw this was before the game came out that I had originally added this to the dock. Just wanted to shout out that we're seeing not only control improvements, right, like the new control schemes to the game, but they're also doing things like streamlining, like sequences where like before it would like I don't know, like you can skip certain dialogues that you couldn't skip before.
Yeah.
Um, they fixed this thing where every time you picked up an item, it would like show it would stop you and show something on screen, and now it only happens for the first time. There we go, streamline item information.
Yeah, just the first time, and
There.
when you turn off the console, like you would have to get it again. See, like yeah, they're showing it.
Yeah.
Also, they do you have full camera control? Like you could not control the camera on the Wii
Hmm.
version, and now you can with the right stick completely control it. If you
You
can,
know,
what's up?
I was gonna say the explanation for that, other than potentially a controller scheme thing, it could also be because in the Wii hardware, it's possible that they were doing a lot of like unloading things behind you as you were moving the level. That now they're able with the hardware of the Switch, they might be able to more quickly like load things, and not necessarily and keep things in
In
memory
memory, yeah,
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, 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 nice.
Yeah.
All right, next up is the fancy Mario watch that costs $2,150. Holy shit! This watch looks like a poker chip. Like just this outside rim reminds me of Vegas and stuff. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I am highly unimpressed for a $2,000 watch. This looks like the watch kind of made for a man child, kind of like me, but worse. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
I see your
impressed.
point. It's not like it doesn't really look like a high end watch,
Or
right? Like
sleek,
it looks like
or an aesthetic.
yeah,
Yeah, no.
it just has the high end price because it has Mario in it. I guess like it's probably a she watch either, but 2,000 2 grand, that's a little too much for a very childish Mario watch.
Yeah, I
So
know. I
yep.
know. All right. Only 2,000 units being produced, so I guess that's cool. Next up is let's see, a Sony plasters PS5 all over American game show Jeopardy. What the hell? If you miss
Okay, so this is
Jeopardy,
pretty funny.
oh all right, go for it. Go for it.
All right, so Sony like basically sponsored a category in Jeopardy or something like that.
Okay.
And because of that, they got to like it's a gaming category, but they got to like write the questions for it, and the questions for it are so marketing like they're so purposefully made to market Sony's games that it's a joke. You can play the video. I think they have a question there on that one, but I'm actually trying to look for
Gamers
like
del-
a full list of the questions because let's see. So here's one. New PS5 owners get introduced to console components via platform game starring this robot with the same name as the Jetsons dog, which of course is to say, what is the name of the Jetsons dog? PS buy a PS5. I'm reading this from Kotaku right now, and it's Astro, right? So
Yeah.
it's like Astro Playroom. Um, but let me. They have a Pac-Man question as well, so not everything is necessarily Sony related. Here's another one. Uh-oh, friends. It looks like Dr. Nefarious is back to his evil ways, forcing Ratchet to once again strap his little robot buddy on his back and fight the good fight. And then the question is like, which is the robot? Which is the robot friend? Whose response is
Clank. Oh my
Clank?
god.
Yeah. Um, let me. Here's another one. Now entering the arena is Twinkle Riot, a hard-hitting star in Destruction All Stars, a type of this alliterative competition in which vehicles are supposed to get smashed to pieces. Um, and I can't find what the question was supposed to be
Yeah.
there. There's one that's about the PS5's SSD. The PlayStation 5 is kitted with an ultra high speed SSD, this kind of hyphenated drive that makes iconic characters like Sackboy really move.
Oh
Um,
my god.
it's it's so like focused on marketing their games, and it's so funny because you would expect them, like they have like a Pac-Man question as well. You'd expect that to be the focus, like, hey, let's make some questions about gaming history, but they're more like, hey, here's Astro's Playroom, Ratchet and Clank, and Destruction All Stars of all things. And those are like taking place in Jeopardy. So just a silly situation going on. Just wanted to give it a shout. It's kind of funny.
Okay, that's cringe. I cringed while you reading this stuff. By the way, the final part, and this is my contribution. I get credit for this. I claim this one. My contribution to check this out is the permanent fix for Joy-Con drift. I just added the headline. Daniel got me the source. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically, it comes down to the fact that there's like it's like a loosening of the connection of the stick to like the board part. And what you do is if you stick a piece of cardboard or a piece of like a hard paper, like a business card, if you just kind of sort of stick it in there, close it up, it makes it so that the Joy Cons have so much more tension because it's a tighter fit, it's a tighter squeeze, causing the stick to actually have full contact and therefore no drift. So so far the
Okay,
buzz around
so
it is that it's permanent fix. So
I have been experiencing this issue with at least one of my Joy Cons, potentially two of them. So Lewis, you're telling me that what I need to do is give my stick a tighter fit.
yeah, that's right, exactly.
Okay, okay,
Exactly. Yeah,
all right, makes
I've had to replace several Joy-Con like sticks and stuff like that to fix Joy-Con
mm,
drift. I haven't had it in a while, by the way, the Joy-Con drift, because I mostly play in docked and Pro Controller anyways. But basically, this whole like YouTube video is sort of like kind of sort of like running through the process. And IGN's even done a video like how to actually implement the changes. But it's basically sort of like very simple and easy where you just sort of just open it up a little bit. You don't even have to do like the full like teardown, where it's like it's like it's easier than replacing your shells of your Joy Cons for like a custom shells. So you just open it up, put the little piece of cardboard, close it up, and then that's all. That's it. So yeah, um,
but it probably involves some iteration for you to get it right, I would assume. Like,
probably.
I just mean I don't think you would like do it once and then put it back together and then it suddenly like works like perfectly, right? Like you probably have to like kind of mess with it and adjust it as I just think this I don't think this is something I would try to do because this I just feel like if I try to do this I would end up ruining my Joy-Con. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you are gonna void your warranty if you open it up. Period.
Mhm.
But I have. I always get somebody to do it for me, by the way. But I have
Mhm.
dabbled in actually opening up my controller myself, like as a
Mhm.
as a world-renowned like Smash Brothers competitor that I am, I had to go out of my way to open up my GameCube controller to do a deep cleaning, so that way it keeps me on my competitive toes and stuff like that. So getting rid of all that dust and all that stuff and opening it up, cleaning it, alcohol, all that good stuff, and then putting it back together, makes for a good competition. So
Makes sense.
yeah, all right. That is gonna be it for check this out. And Dan, we got a good healthy amount of time left, so I'm gonna let you take over the show with all the new releases and all the good razzmatazz.
All
What are you
right.
buying?
So here's the funny thing, Lewis. You always complain that you don't get a lot of content whenever you get to do the segment, right? Now, last week you had the perfect opportunity to get a lot of content on it, but because we didn't do it and we pushed it to this week, now I am getting all the content from like 2 big weeks of game releases.
Exactly.
So I see you're pulling up a lot of links. I was actually just gonna read the headlines for those. We got a bunch of updates to live service games that came out over the last few weeks. So just kind of shouting it out. We got a new season for Call of Duty Warzone. It's season 4, Reloaded. There's a lot of new stuff there. We got a new season for Fall Guys. It's now season 5. We live in the world, 3-month long seasons in all of these games. It's insane. We're seeing those all the time. I sometimes miss the days of like the big MMO expansions that would come like once a year or something. Like
That
that's
ADD
that's what
generation we're on, right? Yeah.
yeah, I know. Now it's like all the time.
By the way,
Overwatch.
yeah.
Go ahead.
By the way, before you go into Overwatch, Fall Guys has a PlayStation character as a costume. By the way,
Really?
yeah.
Which character?
I think it might have been like Ratchet or something, or not Ratchet. I don't know. I'd have to like look it up, but I saw a trailer already, and it was like, oh, they're getting that integration.
Cool.
I honestly, I really don't care about Fall Guys, so I can't tell you, but I know for a fact that I saw a costume and it was a recognizable character. I just couldn't commit to memory what character that was. So I'll let you read the new releases and I'll Google it on the side.
Sounds good. So we got something happening on Overwatch as well. It's called Overwatch Summer Games. There's 6 new legendary skins. And then there's a new Tetris game and Monster Hunter Stories are both coming to Apple Arcade. Wanted to mention that as well because Apple Arcade, we almost never talk about it in the show, but that's still a thing, and there's like new stuff coming out on there. Now let's go through our releases here. F1 2021 came out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on July 16th. In the same day, we also got Observer System Redux coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, Space Jam: A New Legacy coming out on Xbox Series and Xbox One, as well as The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD coming out on the Switch. Now, here is a first for our podcast. I am going to do a live, but although we're not live, unboxing of Skyward Sword HD because myself, as the big Skyward Sword fan that I am, I had to go out and buy this. So here we go. I just got the game. Um, little Switch case. I got it physically. I got it online. I'll tell you guys about a deal on this on the next segment that you guys should take advantage of, like I did. I think Skyward Sword gets a lot of crap, but it's actually a good game. If you're a big fan of Breath of the Wild and you expect that, you're in for a disappointment. But if you're also a fan of just more old school 3D Zelda, like more of the format of Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time, I think Skyward Sword is a really good game within that formula. So I definitely I usually did not buy Switch for releases because I don't like to double dip. If I own the game already, I don't want to buy it again. But I made an exception for this one, especially because the game does look a lot better. At first, my first comment on it was that it barely looked any different, but it's because I had forgotten of what the original looked like. They actually did do a pretty good job at making it look a lot better, and I like all the quality of life improvements. So I felt justified to double dip on this particular one.
It looked like your memory. It looked like your memory of how Skyward
Exactly.
Sword looked like. Also, just want to throw this out there. I'm gonna get the game as well, but I don't know when. And I'm not in no rush to buy the game. but I definitely want to play this game before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out because people are online speculating that because of like the whole like opening sequence in Breath of the Wild 2 where the trailer where Link is skydiving, he looks exactly like he did in Skyward Sword. Therefore, there must be a Skyward Sword connection. Therefore, there must be a reason that Nintendo is going out of their way to re-release the game so that people know whatever Easter eggs or whatever the hell.
I feel like there's a big possibility of that because Skyward Sword is one of the most story heavy Zelda games. It is the game that sets up the world of The Legend of Zelda, and kind of it's supposed to be the first chronologically in the series. It introduces a lot of elements. It shows like basically who the first Link was, who the first Ganon was, who the first Zelda was, how the world was set up, where did the Temple of Time come from. Like it establishes all these foundations. So to me, it makes sense. It is perhaps one of the most important games for the timeline of Zelda. So if they wanted to go back to that with Breath of the Wild 2, I think it makes sense that they want to tie some things in to Skyward Sword HD. I have the game box open here.
Damn, that's
Unfortunately,
very nice looking, by the way.
it is nice looking, but I always find it unfortunate nowadays, like how you don't really get anything in the box other than the game.
Yeah, I wish
But
that. And the worst part is like they have a manual slots in those boxes, but they don't ever put manuals. I think I might even like talk about one day like how I got manuals. I got unofficial manuals for my Switch games. Uh, but yeah,
That's cool. Yeah. All right, let's read the blurb here and then move on. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword game soars onto Nintendo Switch. Take to the skies, draw your sword, and experience the earliest story in the Legend of Zelda series. Join Link in his high-flying quest to save Zelda, a childhood friend who must confront her destiny. Soar between floating islands and descend to the treacherous surface world in this updated HD version of the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword game. Master realistic swordplay that corresponds to your movements. Gently swing your sword and angle your slashes to uncover and break through opponents' defenses using intuitive motion controls. Link's in game movements will correspond to the angle of each strike you make with the Joy-Con controller, creating immersive swordplay that relies on strategy and accuracy. Movement feels smoother and more immediate thanks to the Nintendo Switch system's increased processing power and HD graphics. Take advantage of the newly added button only control scheme, perfect for playing in handheld mode or on the Nintendo Switch Lite system. Now, I do want to point something out. I did watch a review for this, I think from IGN, and it sounds like the thing that people wanted the most from this was the button control scheme, that in some ways that control scheme is still in quotes held back by what the original intent of the game was, meaning that the game, like if you compare it to the way other Zelda games control on a traditional controller, this game will control very uniquely, and perhaps it will feel unintuitive at times with the things that you need to do in the game, because that's how the game was designed. Like the game was completely designed relying on, oh, you got to cut this enemy vertically, you got to hit this with a certain angle, and etc. And doing that with the joysticks, while it's like pretty much the only possible solution, it is not ideal either. So I kind of have a feeling that the canon way to play this game, or the best way to play this game, will probably still be with the motion controls, as much as people don't like that.
damn,
Um,
damn.
but at least you got an option, right?
And
So
also, just want to throw this out there. How dare IGN not give this game a 10? I just want to throw that out there. They gave it a 10 10 years ago. So,
and well, I actually got into a little argument, like a little comment argument on the video, because somebody said that basically, and I was like, dude, the person who gave Skyward Sword a 10 left IGN like many years ago, like almost like 10 years ago by this way. Like, and even at the time that they did that review, most of the people, it was, and we're talking about Richard George,
okay.
who like used to do Nintendo voice chat, IGN's Nintendo podcast. I listened to it. I really liked him as a host and everything. But he was an outlier when with that reveal. Like he gave it a 10, and even the other people at IGN at the time, I remember talking on other podcasts like GameScoop and stuff, that they didn't like the game. So the truth is that the score you see now on Skyward Sword HD is probably more representative of IGN as a whole, if you want to look at it as a whole, even though it's just a combination of people, than the original score was. The original score was more of just like, this guy really loved it, so he gave it a 10.
Hmm.
Um, but
It's
Anyway,
always I
I
always say it's always weird whenever an HD remaster or an HD port comes out and then like the score gets lowered. Like I remember thinking that for Bayonetta 2 when Bayonetta 2 got ported to the Switch from the Wii U and it came down and I'm like, oh. But anyways,
yeah, it's just different reviewers. All right, let's wrap this up. Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and The Briefed is coming to PS4, Switch, and PC on July 20th. Same day that Chris Tales came out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, Stadia, and PC. And Death's Door came out on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. I've heard really good things about that game. It looks like a cool, like kind of isometric action adventure indie game. Then we got Monster Harvest that also came out on the same day for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then Pokemon Unite came out on the Switch on July 21st, all about Unite battles. Powerful energy permeates Eos Island that makes Pokemon grow stronger and provides them with enhanced abilities. Pokemon trainers from around the world come here to harness the power of Eos energy in thrilling battles. This is basically League of Legends meets Pokemon, but in
yeah.
a very simplified way. It is a game that will be available on the Switch as well as mobile. To me, it looks more like a mobile game that was put on the Switch than vice versa. So, if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. Last Stop, I believe, might be an Annapurna game, or I think it's a game from the same developers of the game Virginia, actually. Coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on July 22nd. And now we're getting on to the new wave of releases starting on the day that this podcast posts, July 23rd. We got Blue Fire comes out on the PS4, Orcs Must Die 3 comes out on Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Then on July 26th, we got Contra Returns on iOS and Android. On July 27th, we got a bunch of releases, including Microsoft Flight Simulator coming out on the Xbox Series, Neo: The World Ends With You coming out on PS4 and Switch, Samurai Warriors 5 coming out on Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles coming out on PS4, Switch, and PC. Tribes of Midgard coming out on PS5, PS4, and PC. Then we got to July 28th with Chernobylite coming out on
Chernobyl Light.
PC. Chernobylite, the Near Replication or Near Reincarnation coming out on iOS and Android, as well as The Forgotten City coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, finally, on July 29th, we got Eldest Souls. Looks like some kind of relative to Dark Souls. Um, Coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Series coming out on PC, iOS, and Android.
No
And
one
then
likes
finally
this.
the and then finally the Ascent comes out on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on July 29th. And I wanted to highlight this game because this is the big
E
Xbox exclusive Game
E3.
Pass game coming out this month. We saw it at E3. The Ascent is a solo and co-op action shooter RPG set on Velis, a packed cyberpunk world. Explore the world of Velis alone or with up to 3 friends to find out what happened. Your ascent through the arcology will lead you across the path of the most impressive enemies, but also unexpected alliances. Fully customize your character's appearance, skills, and abilities to match your playstyle and loot various weapons and gear as you grow stronger. Your ascent begins now.
Okay. All right. So just a couple of things that I wanted to comment on. Number one, I honestly didn't know that The World Ends With You didn't. I thought The World Ends With You already was out. Like I remember that being announced a long time ago because that's a DS game that was being ported to the Switch. So
Yeah, I also thought that was already out.
yeah. Also, Microsoft Flight Simulator. I heard it's gonna make the Xbox Series X explode. So
We'll see about that. They that game quite a bit ever since release. It's actually a lot smaller now than it used to be.
oh,
Because I remember it had a ridiculous like you needed like
200
20
gigabytes. Yeah.
DVDs to install it or
Oh yeah.
something. Yeah.
Also, regarding what I said about Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster is like they had to delist games off of Steam in order to resell you the games that they want to remaster. You know what I mean? So I remember that being like a big hubbub.
Lewis, I'm gonna need you to do the next segment while I walk out. There's like a small emergency that I gotta deal with, like right the second.
All right, cool. I got this. All right, so let me just go ahead and just quick. So I'm gonna just go ahead and quickly tell you guys before we move on to the next segment. Picks of the weeks. I'm gonna give you guys two pick of the weeks. Obviously, the pick of the week for last week was obviously The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword, and if I'm gonna give you guys a pick of the week for this week, I'm guessing it's gonna be The Ascent because nothing in this list here for this week really catches my attention. So yeah, there you go. The Ascent. I have Xbox, and unless most people that probably own an Xbox should probably already have Game Pass, so you guys can just pick that up day one. Game Pass, all that good marketing razzmatazz. All right, I'll go ahead and hit up the sales here.
Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger.
All right, so for the Broke Gamers Guide, per usual, we always start off with the Epic Game Store. And so let's take a look at see what the free games of the week are for this week. Let's see here. All right. And it looks like Dan might be coming back too. So, all right. So for the free games of the week, we have Defense Grid: The Awakening and World War One: Verdun Western Front. So for the we read these games last week, and I remember saying I have no idea what they are. But let me go just look at Defense Grid and its little blurb here. Defense Grid: The Awakening is the ultimate tower defense game that appeals to players of all skill levels. A horde of enemies is invading, and it's up to players to stop them by strategically building defensive towers around the base. Oh my God, it's a defense tower game. I've played a bunch of these on PC. It's yeah, I'm not a fan of the genre, but whatever. Dan, how well are you with defense tower games or tower
I
defense games?
have
Actually, yeah, that's the proper
I
name.
actually I haven't played a lot of them. So I used to play some on mobile. I remember back in the day. But yeah, it's not really my jam.
Yeah, tower defense games. I had a review one for Level 1 Gaming. I gave it the benefit of the doubt because it's a genre. Next up is a fanatical.com gives us a Capcom games sale. And a bunch of these are all Steam games, and I'm not gonna lie, these are some pretty dope games. They're like semi kind of new. I see Resident Evil 3 for 70% off for $18. Monster Hunter Stories 2, which just recently came out, it's already 16% off for $50. I see Monster Hunter the World Iceborne expansion for like $21. I see DMC5, which is a Dan approved game because he played it for $23. And yeah, a bunch. Oh, I don't.
No, I did play it. I did play it. It's not Dan approved. It was okay. Like I remember I think I was very positive on it around the
Yeah,
time.
I remember that.
The more time went by, the more I looked down. I'm like, it wasn't that great. It was okay. I was a little bit. I really wanted it
It
to
was a
be
chore
good.
for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of a chore.
Yeah,
I
I see
will
some
I will
Resident
say
Evil
that.
games, and I see Okami HD for $9. I see Resident Evil Village, which is the new hotness, for 49.73. So, oh, look at that.
Now, Village is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And look at that. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is like the hotness. That's an oldie but a goodie for $7. So yeah,
that's the Lewis approved game.
yes, exactly. Um, yeah, that's a dope ass Capcom sale. And next up is CD Keys has Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition on PC for $22. Nice, nice.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you want to play this game on PS4 or PS5, you probably either already own it or you can just wait. This game is always on sale on the PS4 and PS5 for like nothing.
Not to mention, it was given away for free as part of the Days of Play.
You buy physically. Yes, and you could probably go and get it physically for like $10 even if you wanted to. But if you want the PC version, this seems like a good deal.
Yes. The Xbox Series controllers, I guess it's just specifically just the black controller, is $10 off. So instead of buying it for $60, you can get it for $50. Kind of basic, but whatever. A deal is a deal. Next up is the new Nintendo Switch online games were revealed. Yeah, I don't. I have not. It has been a long time since I've ever been excited for a new Nintendo Switch Online, like NSO games reveal, whether it be NES or Super NES. I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
I'll give you more than that, Lewis. When I saw this on a tweet, but it was like it was not a tweet from like Nintendo of America. I just saw like somebody, some website or something wrote a tweet like, "Hey, the new SNES games this month are, Claymates, Jelly Boy, and
And
Bombuzol."
yeah,
And I thought it was a joke. Like I thought it was one of those, like those accounts there where they're basically like the Onion but for video games, like. There's one that I think it's called Hard Drive or something like that. And it's excellent. I could swear that's what I was looking at. And then I clicked on it and I was like, "Oh wait, no, this is a real thing."
this is the official
I
story.
had I had never heard of any of those games. And not only I never heard of them, when you look at like the kind of the cover art, it looks like a joke. Like and I'm not talking shit about the games. Like I don't know if the games are good or bad. I just mean like the image of seeing like these three games next to each other with their like cover art. It looks like a goof. Like they don't look like it's not like the shit you're used to seeing. But
Yes.
yeah, they've been scraping the bottom off the barrel with those with those services for a bit now. I think it's about time they either drop us some of the stuff that we want or
Go
they
to
move on
N64. Yeah.
to the next platform. Yeah.
Or Game Boy or something, or Game Boy Advance, something.
Exactly. Because the thing is, like, Nintendo has like this vast, like, they have so many games like in their past that they could bring back and give us on the Switch that we don't have yet. And there's some people that they like to get the more obscure games. I don't know, man. I feel like what you got to do is like you got to always have like at least one like known like big game that people want, and then you can throw in some like one or two gems in there as well, like some of those more obscure weird titles.
Yeah.
Um, but recently it's become just the obscure stuff.
Yeah. Japanese only release is now finally coming to America.
Yeah.
Also, separate side note, you can try the entire full version of Among Us on the Switch. For all Nintendo Switch Online members, you can starting yesterday. You can download it until July 27th. You can play the full game free, like as if you don't already have a phone.
Nope.
But yeah, and also for if you are actually interested in buying the game, until August 1st, the game is 30% off, which literally amounts to $1.50 off. That's like takes the price down to 350. That'll be 350. Next up, the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is already $10 off at GameStop. Wow, what kind of loss leader this is? Because there's no way.
So yeah, so the game came out basically $10 off everywhere. I'm not sure why, but it's on Amazon, it's on GameStop, it's on Best Buy, it's on Walmart. I'm not sure if everybody's just trying to like undercut each other. I actually bought mine on Amazon for $15.99, so I paid an extra dollar than I would for GameStop. And the reason, Lewis, was just for the convenience because I'm used to using Amazon. It already has like my account with Amazon Prime and all my cards set up. I trusted that I would get it faster, and I did because I bought this game like 2 days ago, or like a day ago, and I already got it. So, yeah. So I recommend people like if you want to buy the game and you're into physical media, you might want to buy it right now because
Yeah,
soon, and this goes to you,
yeah.
because soon it will go back to full price, and then who knows when it's going to go back down to 50 again. So
Nintendo doesn't do well with or doesn't really mark down their games. Also, separate side note, I like how the price points of these sales are the original listing price for the Wii version when it came out day one,
Mm,
10 years ago.
that's true.
All right, next up, more Xbox Game Pass titles for July are revealed. Uh, Dan, I'm gonna let you take this one because I can barely see these things. Let me see here. I'm gonna blow this up. I see. Okay, okay. Oh, you know what? I'll just do
You
it.
can scroll down.
All right. I got this. I got.
All the titles are listed if you scroll down a little bit.
You know what? You know what, Dan? Whatever. July 20th, Battlefield 5, the cloud version, or for Xbox Cloud. Chris Tales, cloud console PC. July 22nd, we got Atom, Microps, I can't really tell what that means. Whatever. Cloud Console PC, Raji, an ancient epic. Last Stop. July 26th is Blinks, The Timekeeper, and Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge. July 27th is Microsoft Flight Simulator, only on the Xbox Series X and S. You know, and July 29th, Lethal, League Blaze, Omno, Project Wingman, and The Ascent. The Ascent being the hotness from E3, and then leaving on July 31st is It Lurks Below, The Tourist, and Undermine. All of those were cloud console PC. Yeah, nothing to say
So I
there.
think it may not seem like the biggest of months, but I think it's a pretty good month because I want to shout out that Crystales is a new indie game that's coming out, and I believe I saw some tweets about that one. Apparently, it's a good game. Raji, an ancient epic. That game, you might remember the name, Louis, and not remember where you heard it from. That game was nominated for a bunch of awards at the last Game Awards. I think it was nominated for like debut, like it was like debut game and best indie game and stuff like that. Uh, Last Stop I mentioned earlier today is a game by the developers of Virginia. I think it's an Annapurna game. And then we got Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is, I guess, the second that we know of, like Xbox Next Gen exclusive to come out because we got the Medium and now we're getting Flight Simulator. With the third one being The Ascent coming out 2 days later, although maybe The Ascent is on Xbox One as well. I don't remember right now. But we got some neat stuff. Like there's some neat Xbox stuff coming out this month. Some neat stuff being added to Game Pass.
And it's those
It's not.
those new games, you know.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Sony fanboy, a certain type of Sony fanboy that I see a lot of tweets from for some reason. They come up in my timeline. Even people that I don't follow, they just kind of come up on my timeline. They like to shit on Game Pass for being like, oh, that's where you go to play like old shitty games, but they actually got also like new shitty games and new great games and and new indie games. I just couldn't not do the joke, but they got lots of stuff. So we got some major new cool indie games coming out this month that are available day one on Game Pass. So cool stuff to check out.
All right, cool. All right, moving on. Let me just go ahead and close that trailer out. Square Enix sale from the Humble Bundle. So I can see Octopath Traveler 50% off, $30. Chrono Trigger 750. Trials of Mana $25. Some Final Fantasies, a lot of Final Fantasies and stuff, all marked down and stuff like that. So, yeah, anything that you want to specifically shout out as far as Square Enix sales goes?
Nope.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna give a shout out to the Super Nintendo Classic, The Secret of Mana. Why the hell is it being charged $20? That's an old ass game. But whatever. I hope it's like the HD version or something, like the HD remaster. Next up is Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 for PC are being given away to Amazon Prime members. What? Oh my God. All right. So they're being made available as free downloads to Amazon Prime subscribers as part of Prime Gaming offerings. See, I cover Prime Gaming every so often, and I guess I wasn't I wasn't up on it, but normally they just roll it out on August 1st or something like that. But oh, look at that. It even says it August 2nd to October 1st. So yeah, they always do that thing where they refresh the list. I'm guessing they're just announcing it early. I usually find out when it goes free. So I would have found out for you guys, but there it is. Dan beat me to it.
Oh, I guess you can bring it up again. I hadn't seen the date, so I just saw the headline.
All right. And more than 1,200 PlayStation games are being discounted in a massive summer sale. So let me just, I'm going to just clarify this here. I think
So
this
I pulled.
is it still
I
going? Is it still ongoing?
Yeah, this just started. This is the
Ah,
new sale that just started. I grabbed this article because they have the best deals like at the bottom of it. Um, because it's way too many games to like go through in the store. So some good shout outs here. I think Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time for $36. That's a cool one. We got Sackboy: A Big Adventure is $40. Returno is 50, which you know so we got it takes two for $30, and I believe that also gives you the like you can play with somebody that doesn't own the game, right? So it basically gives you two
and
versions of the
that's
game.
Ready Press
Mass Effect
Play.
45.
Ready Press Play approved game, by the way. It Takes Two.
Yeah, 100%. So don't know if you want to shout out anything else, but yeah, this sale is starting right now. It's not the other sale that we removed.
I'm just gonna tell you this right now. As much as I like Dragon Ball Fighters, and as much as I would want to shout that out, uh, it's being on discount for $9. But that's a trap. Okay, that's just the base game. There is not a complete. They never re-released the game as a complete edition, by the way, with all the season pass
Mm.
characters and stuff like that. But let me tell you this right now: when you buy all those season passes, and there's like three of them, by the way, when you buy all those season passes, you're basically paying $60 for the game. So just, or maybe even more.
Mm.
I don't know. But just throwing that out there, it's a trap. But it's a good trap though. I'm gonna say it's a good game. I like it. It's a Lewis approved fighting game.
Nope.
But yeah, that's I guess that is gonna be it for the show here. So let's go ahead and play the nifty sound effect. So for the end of the show here, I'm just gonna go ahead and just remind you guys, you YouTube people, that I always put a card up on screen as a little subscribe button for the Level One Gaming YouTube channel. Congratulations on 500 subscribers. They did it. We did it. I guess since we're part of their YouTube channel. So yay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it is time to end. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Ready Press Play. Remember, you can reach the podcast at ReadyPlayNetwork.com or simply at Ready Press Play on Twitter or TikTok. I'm on Twitter at Chakalaka88 and Dan.
At the Dan Lima.
So don't forget to subscribe, give us a review, tell your friends about the show, and all that good stuff. See you next time.
Bye bye.